Suggested we're trying to get President Rocha fired. That is not true, and he was laughing about it, and so should we. I'm Roger Marheim. I'm the president of the PCC Faculty Association. We are the faculty union, and I bring you greetings and solidarity. And about 3 weeks ago, in one of my classes, a number of students began talking about the winter session. And I was, like many teachers, pretty oblivious. Well, there's going to be a winter session, but I don't really know much about it. And I was impressed with the number of students and their strong feelings about the fact that they were closed out of classes, mostly that they needed to transfer. The class I teach is English 1B. It's a transfer course, so the students are already in transfer mode. And I was struck by how strongly they felt. And I thought about this, and some of the student interns got involved, and so here we are. But I want to say a couple of remarks because I was talking to someone last night, and so if you'll excuse me, I'm going to read a little bit. The issues of community college students are in the minds of all California educators. The statistics are alarming. In a time of extraordinary need, access to higher education is actually decreasing in California. CSUs and UCs are pricing students out of the system, and the community colleges overall are shrinking. According to the Chancellor's Office, 140,000 fewer students were in the system last year than would have been had there been classes available. That is really an issue of social justice. It's an issue of civil rights. It's an issue that affects the lowest income students of our society in California, persons of color, the unemployed, the underemployed, single parents, basic skills, engineering technology, and also transfer students. What is happening overall in the community college system? The long term is interesting. We're hearing reports that there's going to be an effort to have 1 million new BA or BS degrees by 2025. A number of reports are calling for this. On the other hand, in the short term, there seems to be some funny financing going on. But I do also in teaching, I always try to say we need to historicize and contextualize our own particular issues. And I'd like to take a minute to do that. First, on an international level, we always acknowledge, I'm wearing my Vets for Peace cap today. I see Lyle is here and his son is in Afghanistan, I believe. Not yet, but going. The wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, according to Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize winner, cost around $3 trillion by themselves. Our defense budget is a little above $900 billion annually. By some accounts, that budget is greater than all other defense budgets of all countries in the world combined. That kind of expenditure is criminal. The social justice issues to the people of Iraq and Afghanistan are certainly an issue we all need to keep in mind. I was just talking to Carol of the Vets Club. We have numerous vets on this campus who experienced that. But even if you take those aside, the extraordinary expenditures to wars make our society a militarized state, and all of you are being shortchanged as a result of that. The second issue is just a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago, the largest bank bailout since the Great Depression occurred. It's over $700 billion in just a few weeks were doled out to major Wall Street banks. What that shows us, now a lot of that money has been paid back, but what that shows us is that when they decide there's a crisis, they respond quickly and resolutely, and they come up with $700 billion that nobody really knew we had. You, of course, will be paying for that bailout for years to come. The third area I always look at, in addition to the international, the national, and now the California front. Sacramento, I was just in Sacramento this Saturday for meetings. I serve on a board that represents the profession of faculty. It's not a union organization, the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges. And one of the issues we always talk about is the terrible taxation structure in Sacramento that likely won't be fixed in the immediate future. Two other issues of, in my mind, grave social injustice. One is the prison system in California, largest in the United States by far, and recently, until recently I should say, the prison system housed more inmates in California than Western Europe and Japan combined. About $48,000 goes to every prison inmate, that's roughly 10 times what the state pays for every community college student. That is really a criminal injustice in the approach to crime and the well-being of society. Additionally, the K-12 educational system, kindergarten through senior high school, has been devastated basically since the 1970s, late 70s, something called Prop 13. Many of you were born after that. But you were victimized by a system that was terribly underfunded, was frankly traumatized. I was reading in the paper just a couple of days ago, we have 37 fewer students in the K-12 system in California, 37 fewer teachers than other states. The literacy level, the crisis in math skills is palpable and enormous. Generally, it is under the cluster of basic skills. Those needs must be met. Now at the local level, at PCC does have a history similar to many other districts. I was at a meeting in Pasadena 4 weeks ago of the independent unions of California community colleges, and pretty much every district had the same story. The story goes like this. For the last 2 or 3 years in particular, there's been a tendency of all districts to say, we are broke, we're expecting cuts, classes are cut, part-timers are laid off, full-timers are furloughed, staff are cut, only then to see at the end of the fiscal year, for most of us, that's July 1st, June 30th, July 1st, only to see these districts then increase their reserves. So we're seeing a very disturbing pattern statewide. Community college districts are cutting back on program, on personnel, increasing class sizes, and yet increasing reserves. That is educationally irresponsible, it is educationally unethical, and we all need to address that. The students called this particular demonstration today. I salute you. I salute your effort. You are the stakeholders. You are the stakeholders in this issue. I have been here over 30 years. I will continue to teach. I'm the old guy who just give him a piece of chalk and away he goes. But you students, it's your future right now. You're trying to transfer right now. You are the victims. You are the greatest stakeholders in this discussion. And there's a lot of good dialogue. President Rocha has initiated a lot of good dialogue since he's arrived. I have been in more communication with President Rocha than any other president in recent years. However, this dialogue has generally not included enough student input. That is what participatory democracy should be. That is what you students should care about. It is your future. I salute you for this rally today, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Victor Interiano. I work for the PCFA. Next up is PCC President Rocha. He'll make some comments.
In a classroom, we ought to close the distance a little bit. Anyway, thank you, Roger, and I do want to thank the students for the democratic process, for allowing me to say a few words. I'll try and say a very few words, and to see if we can help each other to get on the same side to do the same thing. I completely agree with Roger and this flyer that's being handed out, fund education, not war. Okay, one of the things that we have done as a nation over the last decade, right, is that we've had 2 wars and we haven't paid for them. And we have been putting our priorities in the wrong place, both in terms of our national priorities and the state priorities. We're on the same side of fighting for more funding for education. In the state of California, forget, about a lot of the other details, but you are aware, of course, that the state of California has a huge budget deficit. That's a fact. Governor-elect Jerry Brown will come in office in a few weeks and deal with that deficit, all right? One of the problems in the state is that we together need to be more effective, join on the same side so that there is more money for community colleges and for education K through 14 and CSU and UC, and less money for prisons. And less money, it has to be education over prison. So I completely agree with the sentiment here. And I also want to know in terms of social justice, all right? Social justice is not just about me. It's about us. It's about everybody. In 1992, there was this, I'm sorry, wasn't expecting that. There was this odious thing called Prop 187. Prop 187, some of you are too young to remember it. Prop 187 said that if you were an immigrant, okay, that we were going to check your green card at this door and not let you in. There were two administrators in the state of California at Cal State Northridge at that time who wrote that if you make us do this, we will resign our jobs, because we did not take these jobs in order to check people's green cards. Those two administrators, one's here right now, and the other was my dean at Cal State Northridge. And we wrote an article in La Opinion over 18 years ago on that particular issue. So I share your values on social justice. I've fought for it, okay?